All right, it's January, and if you drove past a Planet Fitness or any other type of fitness center this morning, the parking lot was probably still full. See, we're obsessed with the new year, new you narrative. We track our macros, we count our steps, and we obsess over our physical output. But while we're busy building biceps, most of us are letting our most critical asset atrophy. So here's the uncomfortable reality. By today, statistically, about 70 to 90% of New Year's resolutions have already started to fade, to wobble away. Why, you might ask? Well, it isn't because you're lazy, it's because you're exhausted. See, you're trying to run a marathon on a sprained ankle. You're treating willpower like it's an infinite resource. And I'm here to tell you it's not, folks. See, willpower is a battery. And in the modern attention economy, your battery is bleeding out before you even get to lunch. So you don't have a motivation problem, you have a weak mental stamina issue. See, I've spent 30 years in rooms with high-level marketers and executives. I can tell you right now, the elite aren't just biohacking their bodies anymore. That's basically old news. This year in 2026, the real game is Neuro-Fitness. What they're doing is they're tracking cognitive load and emotional fitness, the same way that a bodybuilder tracks protein. They know that thinking is a trainable muscle, and right now, most people are skipping leg day, so to speak. So stop buying planners you're not going to use. Today, what I'm going to do is give you a three-part gym routine for your brain. We're going to build the focus, the resilience, and the critical thinking armor you need to actually survive the New Year's media landscape and everything else. Ready? Let's get to it. All right, before we get to the exercises, you need to understand the biology of why this works. See, in the gym, growth happens through a process called hypertrophy. You lift a heavy weight, you create micro tears in the muscle fiber, and when your body repairs those tears, the muscle grows back denser and stronger. Your brain works on the exact same principle. It's called neuroplasticity. But here's the problem. The modern world is designed to prevent you from ever lifting a heavy mental weight. Basically, in marketing, we call this cognitive ease. We want you to feel comfortable. We want your brain to glide through information without friction. See, social media algorithms, 24-hour news cycles, echo chambers, they're all designed to keep you on the couch. They feed you opinions you already agree with, so you never have to strain your brain. When you scroll through a feed that confirms everything you already believe, that's basically the neurological equivalent of eating potato chips on the sofa. You feel full, but you're atrophying. So to get mental fitness, we have to introduce a concept called cognitive strain. We have to voluntarily expose the prefrontal cortex to resistance. We have to make it hard to think. That burn you feel when you try to read a complex book or listen to a debate opponent who actually makes sense, that isn't confusion, my friend. That is your brain building density. So how do we trigger that growth without burning out? Well, you're in luck. Here's your routine. Every workout starts with a warm-up. You can't lift heavy weights if you have a torn ligament. And then the brain, chronic anxiety, and unmanaged anger, they're injuries. They hijack your resources. So your warm-up is what I call the Amygdala Rep. We know from the science of resilience that your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, is supposed to regulate your amygdala, the alarm system. But when you get triggered by a headline or a rude comment, the alarm system takes over. So here's the drill. The next time you feel that spike of immediate anger or fear, hit pause. Literally stop. Count to 5. See that pause? That is the rep. You are physically training the neural pathway that allows your logic center to override your emotional center. I know it feels uncomfortable at times, but you want to react. But by holding that pause, you're strengthening the brakes on your brain. See, do this 5 times a day and you're ready for the heavy lifting. And now, folks, we lift. We're going to train focus density. And most of you know the Pomodoro technique, which is where you work 25 minutes of work and 5 minutes of rest. It's classic because it respects your biological ultradian rhythms. But to build fitness, we need progressive overload. We need to make it heavier. So I call this the Pomodoro Plus. Set your timer for 25 minutes. About 12 minutes in, you're going to feel a sudden itching urge to check your phone or tab over to email. That urge is the weight. That urge is the weight that you're going to be lifting mentally. I mean, it may be even earlier than 12 minutes or so, but most people drop the weight. They check the phone anyway. To get the benefit, you must acknowledge the urge and then refuse it. Push past it for, let's say, 60 more seconds. That moment of resistance is where the neuroplasticity happens. That is the rep that builds the muscle. If it doesn't hurt a little, you aren't building focus, you're just passing time. And finally, the most misunderstood part of fitness, it's recovery. See, muscles do not grow while you're lifting them. They grow while you're sleeping. The brain is the same. But here is the mistake, okay? You think scrolling TikTok is resting. Scrolling, it's not rest. It is high-speed data processing. It keeps your brain in a state of low-grade arousal. So for this year, I want you to adopt a strategy called active shutdowns. This ties into the trend of JOMO, the joy of missing out. An active shutdown means zero input, no podcast, no music, no screens. Go for a walk, stare at the wall, fold the laundry. You need to be bored because boredom is the only time your brain enters the default mode network, which is where it consolidates memory and solves problems in the background. So if you never let yourself get bored, you're actually never recovering. So you've warmed up, you've done your focus reps, and you've recovered. Now, if you want to be in the top 1% of thinkers, you need a compound lift. So in the gym, this is the deadlift. In critical thinking, it's called the steel manning. See, most people do the opposite. They straw man. They take a weak version of an opposing argument, knock it down, and feel smart. That is empty calories. Steel manning is different. You take an argument you despise, maybe a political policy you hate or a business strategy you think is foolish, and you build it up. You try to argue it better than your opponent could ever argue it. Why is this the ultimate exercise, you might be thinking? Well, because holding two opposing ideas in your head at the same time creates cognitive dissonance. Your brain hates that tension. It physically wants to reject it. So when you force your brain to sit with that tension without getting angry, you're building massive density in the prefrontal cortex. You're expanding your cognitive capacity. I know it hurts, but that's how you know it's actually working. So here's the reality for this year. The world is going to get louder. The algorithms, they're going to get better at feeding you what you want to hear. If you don't have a training routine, you're going to become mentally soft. You'll be basically reactive, easily manipulated, and constantly exhausted. But if you treat your brain like a muscle, if you do your amygdala reps, your focus sets, and your steel manning, you will have an advantage that 99% of the population lacks. You will have clarity. So here's your practical next steps. For the next 7 days, I want you to pick one news headline that makes you angry. Do not scroll past it. Stop. Write down 3 logical reasons why that headline might be true or valid. If you can't do it, well, unfortunately, your brain is out of shape. If you want the full training manual, my new book on first principles thinking is launching this quarter. It's basically the advanced playbook for everything we talked about today. So my advice is don't skip Logic Day, okay? Hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.